Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with a new topic. Earlier we have completed chapter 2, that is nutrition in animals. Now this topic is related to physics, where we are going to study about heat and how heat is important in our life, what are different modes of heat transfer. This all we are going to cover in this chapter. Now let's start with topics to be covered. Now the topics to be covered in this chapter is, first we're going to study about heat, what it is, next temperature, next is clinical thermometer, next is laboratory thermometer, and last modes of heat transfer. Now heat, what is heat? Okay, you might have seen various sources of heat like sun, burning of candle, burning of wood gives heat. So these are some sources of heat. Now let's study what is heat. Heat is a thermal energy that flows from an object at higher temperature to one at lower temperature, commonly measured in calories or joules. So what is heat? So heat is a form of thermal energy. Thermal means temperature, okay? So it is a form of energy that flows from an object which is at higher temperature to one at lower temperature. And it is, since it is an energy, it is measured. So it is measured in calories or joules. Now heat is exchanged until thermal equilibrium is reached. Now I want to tell you what is thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium means when the amount of heat in two components A or B are same, means the temperature must be same. When the temperature is same, then the heat transfer stops. Now let's see what is temperature. Temperature, a measure of average kinetic energy of the molecules of substance. Now there is a word called kinetic energy. I think you might not be knowing this. Okay, now what is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is when a body is in motion, it is having an energy, it possesses an energy when a body is in motion. That form of energy is called kinetic energy. And we all know that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So whenever you are walking or moving, your mass, your body weight, that is potential energy, while you are running, converts into kinetic energy. Okay, it is represented by a formula called half mv square. So when the temperature heat transfer takes place, the molecules present also moves from one place to another. So that is called kinetic energy. So temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of the molecules of substance. Or the another definition could be a measure of hotness and coldness of a substance in degrees. Now let's see what is thermal energy. The total energy of the particles that makes up a substance, the number of particles and how fast they are moving. Now thermal energy is what? Thermal energy is the total kinetic energy which a molecule possesses. Okay, so that is called thermal energy, and it helps in knowing how fast that heat transfer is taking place. Now let's compare all the three units: temperature, thermal energy and heat. Now temperature is measures average kinetic energy, whereas thermal energy is sum of all kinetic energies. Okay, and whereas heat, it is a mode of flow of thermal energy from hot medium to cold medium. So now I hope you have understood what is heat, thermal energy and temperature. Now let's move forward towards thermometer. Now thermometer is what? Thermometer is a simple device which is used to measure temperature. We all know that when we fall sick, we measure temperature by using a device called thermometer. So basically there are two types of thermometer, that is clinical as well as laboratory. So first start with clinical thermometer. The clinical thermometer is used to measure human body temperature. So students, do we know what is the human body temperature? Normal. So normal human body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade or 98 degree Fahrenheit. Now a clinical thermometer, it works on the principle that solids and liquids expands on heating. Okay, whenever you heat anything, either it is a solid or a liquid thing, it expands. As the temperature rises, the mercury present in thermometer expands and causing it to move upwards and depict temperature. So whenever you bring a thermometer near a hot device or a cold device, the mercury expands. Okay, mercury expands, it rises above or falls down as in respect to the temperature. So it rises up when we bring it near the hot object, and by this we come to know the temperature of that object. So the range of clinical thermometer falls between -30 that is 35 degrees centigrade to 42 degree centigrade. Now let's see clinical laboratory thermometer. The laboratory thermometer is used to measure the temperature of chemicals. It works on the principle that solids and liquids expands on heating. As the temperature rises, mercury expands, causing it to move upwards and depict temperature. So it also works on the same principle as clinical thermometer works. The basic difference between them is there is a range. Okay, clinical thermometer range is 35 degrees Celsius to 42. Okay, whereas laboratory thermometer is used to measure the temperature of chemicals. Okay, it is not used to measure the temperature of human body, it is used to measure the temperature of chemicals, and the range is -10 degrees centigrade to 110 degrees Celsius. Now let's see heat transfer. Okay, so heat transfer is taken place by three modes are there of heat transfer, as you can see on the screen, that is conduction, convection and radiation. Now let's move in detail what is conduction, convection and radiation and how they are different from each other. Now conduction, it is the mode of heat transfer in which the heat transfer takes place between solids when they are in direct contact with each other. It takes place only in solids. Okay, it does not take place in liquids, neither in gases. It takes place only in solids. It requires medium for heat transfer. Okay, so it cannot take place in vacuum, means you require some medium for transfer of heat. Okay, the last point is this mode of heat transfer cannot take place in vacuum. So what we understood from conduction? So conduction is the mode of heat transfer, primary mode of heat transfer, which is generally found observed. For conduction to take place, the objects must be solid, first thing. Second, there must be a direct contact with each other, and they require a medium for heat transfer. Now conduction, how does this method work? How it works? Let's see. So conduction takes place within materials and between different materials that are in direct contact. Okay, that takes place within materials. There could be two objects made of same material, there also that conduction could take place, or the objects which are different material, there this method is also possible. Like in this diagram, you can see a person is touching a bucket where it is releasing, you have cooked something and he is touching it. So the difference, material is different, but the person can still observe, feel that heat. Now again, let's see further. Conduction is explained by collisions between atoms or molecules. So that's collision between which the molecules which we do not see, able to see, they collide when there is a change in thermal equilibrium. They collide with each other. The warmer atoms moves more violently, they have more energy. Okay, the object which is warm, it is having more energy, more kinetic energy. These warm atoms bump into nearby atoms, they collide with each other and transfer energy, resulting in an increase in the motion of nearby atoms. As a result, the nearby atoms also moves. Like this atom, it is very warm. As a result, it will collide with them and it will release energy. Free electrons that drift through the metal jostle and transfer energy by colliding with atoms and other free electrons. So the free electrons which are present in a molecule, they also strike with each other and they release energy which transfer to other molecules, and that transfer keeps on taking place. Now in conduction, what moves is not the molecules, what moves is the energy. Conduction involves the transfer of energy from molecule to molecule. Energy moves from one place to another, but molecules do not. Okay, the molecules will not transfer. What transfer is energy. Means that vibration of molecules will move, not the molecules will move from here to there. Like in this case, this candle is transferring its heat through this wick to an iron rod. So neither the candle is moving nor that iron rod, just what it is moving is that heat heat energy is flowing from this point to that point. Now same thing it is shown at molecular level. When you heat a metal strip at one end, the heat travels to the other end. So the heat transfer keeps on taking place as these molecules vibrate, so that heat transfer will takes place. So this is regarding conduction. Now we'll study about the conductors and insulators. So the conductors are those substances which allow the heat to pass through it without losses, okay, without very large losses. Metals are the best heat conductors, since metal have loose outer electrons. So metals have outer electrons, they are loose, okay, that easily move out. That's why metals are good conductors of heat. If you touch a piece of metal that is at room temperature, it often feels cold. This is because metal is good conductor of heat. It quickly conducts heat away from your body. So whenever you touch a bottle made of metal or stainless steel, it remains cool, okay, you'll find it cooler because it is a good conductor of heat. Now see, what are the heat insulators, which do not allow heat to pass through them easily. Now the poor conductors of heat, such as styrofoam and air, are called good insulators. So air, which you can feel, is a insulator of heat. Liquid and gases are in general good insulators. Porous materials with lot of small spaces are good insulators. Porous means which are having holes, minute holes. A blanket on your bed does not provide your body with heat. It just slows the conduction of your body heat to the colder area. So when during winters you have a quilt or blanket, okay, so that doesn't mean it will give you heat. What it does is it reduces the conduction. It does not allow the heat from your body to move out to the environment which is cold. So in that process you find it warmer. Insulation delays heat transfer. It cannot prevent it, okay, it can only delay it. The heat transfer will be reduced, it will take time. As a result you will feel warm. Now the next mode of heat transfer is convection, which takes place in liquids and gases as well. So how does this method work? Convection occurs when a fluid is heated. Okay, fluids are what? Fluids are both liquids and gases. Now when a fluid is heated, it expands and becomes less dense. Since it is less dense, it rises. Okay, when a fluid is, either you are heating water or any substance, liquid substance, it expands and becomes less dense. Okay, it releases energy and becomes light in weight. Since it is less dense, it will rise up. So warmer fluid floats on top of the cooler fluid. Cooler fluid then moves to the bottom and the process continues. Convection currents keeps the fluid stirred as it is heated, so they keep on moving. The currents keeps on moving like this circle. Fluids cool by losing heat from surface. Now in convection, what moves is, convection was the movement of fluid. If there is not a fluid, convection cannot occur. So in convection, fluid molecules will move, whereas in conduction, molecules do not move. What moves is the energy. So this is a difference. I can see in this microwave oven. Now example, convection currents stir the atmosphere and produce winds. Okay, you can feel wind due to this motion of air, which helps in maintaining the temperature outside. Convection currents are produced by uneven heating of air near the surface of earth. Okay, so like this, that is cooler surface and warm surface. You might have studied land breeze and sea breeze in your previous classes. So that land warms and cools more quickly than water, thus convection currents are often evident at the shore in sea breeze and land breeze. So you might have seen this diagram. So in this, during daytime, the land becomes hot. As a result, that air gets warm and move towards the sea. As a result, in daytime, the cold air from sea will move towards the sun. So you will observe cold breeze, sea breeze during daytime. Whereas during night, when there is moon at night, the land is much cooler than the sea. As a result, the cool air from land will move towards the sea, which is called land breeze. Now the next mode of heat transfer is radiation. So here you can see that there are two boxes, okay, same size. So one box is coated black, whereas other box is white in color. You can observe through the diagram that temperature rise is more in lamp black coated, whereas temperature rise is slow in silver coated. Why? Because black color is a good radiator of heat. Now radiation is the fastest mode of heat transfer because it does not require any medium. Okay, it uses the electromagnetic waves which are present in atmosphere. So any object that has temperature radiates heat, will radiate heat. Radiation is the only form of transfer that can occur in a vacuum. Okay, we have studied two modes, that is conduction and convection. They require medium, like they require air, okay, liquids, whereas radiation does not require medium. Okay, it can take place in vacuum. Heat transfer by radiation takes place from everything to everything, even in empty space. In radiation, what moves is, with radiation only energy moves from the warm object to the cold object. Okay, like as in conduction there is an energy transfer, no molecule transfer. Similarly in radiation, only energy moves from warmer object to the cooler object. Like they are showing energy from sun, that is moving from one planet to another planet. Now see the examples. We receive lot of warmth from the sun as radiation. Go outside on a sunny day, and the warmth you feel of sun on your face is due to radiation. You can observe every day. That is due to radiation only. Most of the heat we feel when near a fire is radiation. Okay, whenever you are during winters, so that is due to you observe heat, you feel heat near bonfire if you have done, so that is due to radiation. So you can see in this diagram that conduction, that here it is with a tool, they are making one tool, so they are bringing near that fire, so that is due to contact, because there is contact between metal and this flame, that's why it is being heated. So this is due to conduction, here it is convection and radiation. Now good absorbers and good emitters of radiation. Good absorbers of radiant energy are also good emitters, and poor absorbers are poor emitters. For example, radio antenna that is constructed to be a good emitter of radio wave will also be a good receiver of radio waves. So this is an example, a radio antenna which absorbs radio signals, receives radio signal. Since it is a good receiver, it can also emit. Similarly with black objects, black colored objects, a black mug will allow warm liquids to cool really quickly, but it will also allow cool liquids to warm really quickly. Okay, so what you understood, that the objects which are good absorber are always also a good emitter. Now wavelengths. Okay, an object continues to emit radiant energy in a mixture of wavelength. Objects at lower temperature emit longer waves, and objects at high temperature emit waves of shorter wavelength. Objects of everyday temperature emit waves mostly in longer wavelengths and of the infrared region. Now, since I told you that heat is a form of energy, so energy, we see a diagram of energy wave, it forms a wave pattern, and the length of a wave is called wavelength. Okay. Now infrared waves absorbed by our skin produce the sensation of heat. So we absorb infrared radiations coming. If an object is hot enough, some of the radiant energy it emits in the form of visible light. At a temperature of about 500 degrees Celsius, an object begins to emit the longest wavelength we can see. It is red light. At about 1200 degrees, all different waves to which the eye is sensitive are emitted, and we see an object as white hot. Radiation, absorption and reflection are opposite process. A good absorber of radiant energy reflects very little radiant energy and appears dark. A perfect absorber reflects no radiant energy and appears perfectly black. So the white color is a good reflector of radiant energy as it is a poor absorber. So that's why we prefer to wear white clothes during summer and dark clothes during winter. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this lecture.